The sun's barely up and my hands are already cold. The kind of cold that sinks into your bones and stays there, like a guest who won't leave. I'm kneeling in the dirt outside our hut, scraping frost off a turnip that's half rotten. It's all we've got for breakfast. My name's Edric, though nobody calls me that unless they're angry. Most just grunt oi, or you there. I'm nobody special. Just another pair of hands in this nowhere village, tucked in a crease of land, too small for any lord to bother naming. Edric, you moping again. That's Aelith, my sister, poking her head out the door, her braids unraveling, and her face is smudged with soot from last night's fire. She's 15, thinks she's cleverer than me. Probably is. Not moping, I mutter, tossing the turnip into the pot. Just wishing this thing wasn't more worm than vegetable, she snorts, stepping out into the mud. Worms are meat. You'll eat worse before winter's done. She's not wrong. If this story's worth hearing, it's not for heroics or grand battles. It's for the truth of it, the muck, the ache, the way we keep going when the world feels like it's trying to bury us. If you're listening, maybe you're somewhere warm, somewhere far from this. Tell me where you are in the comments, what time it is. Makes me feel less alone out here. For now, grab a seat by the fire. Let's get through this day together. The village smells like damp wool and pig dung. Always does. Our hut's wall and daub, patched so many times it's more mud than wall. The roof sags like an old man's shoulders, leaking where the thatch has given up. Inside it's one room. Me, Aleph, Ma, and the chickens. DA's been gone 3 winters now. Fell through the ice fetching water. Nobody talks about it. I'm hauling the pot to the hearth when Ma shuffles in, coughing. Her eyes are sunken, but she still moves like she's got a purpose. Stew again, she asks, voice rough as the dirt floor. Turnip and whatever, Aleph finds in the garden. I say maybe nettles. Nettles ain't food, she grumbles, but she sits anyway, stirring the pot with a stick. The fire's lowwood's scarce this week. I'll have to barter with old Tom for more. He's got a healthy goat and a grudge, but he'll trade if I fix his fence. Outside the village is waking. The bell from the chapel 2 miles off clangs, faintly, marking dawn. I hear Wulfric shouting at his ox, stubborn beast that it is. Somewhere, a baby's wailing. The air's thick with frost, and the fields look like they're sulking brown. Patchy, barely worth the plow. Gilleth's back, hands full of wilted greens, nettles and some sad-looking cabbage, she says, dumping them on the table. It's not a table, realigest. A slab of wood propped on stumps. Found a mushroom too, but it smelled like death, so I left it. Good call, I say. Last thing we need is you poisoning us. She sticks out her tongue, then starts tearing the leaves. I'm supposed to be in the Lord's field today, pulling weeds for his barley. Corvée labor, they call it. Means I work for nothing while my own plot goes to ruin. The steward'll be by soon, sniffing for taxes. Last time, he took half our eggs, said it was for the manor's feast. I'd like to feast on his smug face one day, but that's a thought I keep buried. Edric, move your arse. Wulfric's voice cuts through the morning fog. He's at the edge of our plot, red-faced, holding a hoe like he's ready to swing it. Steward's coming. You want him catching you idling. Coming, I shout back, grabbing my cloak. It's threadbare. Smells like sheep, but it keeps the wind off. Aleph tosses me a hunk of rye bread, hard as a rock. Don't let Wulfric talk you into anything stupid, she says. Too late for that, I mutter. Stepping into the mud, the Lord's field is a half-mile trudge, all ruts and puddles. Wulfric's already there, muttering about the weather. Rain's late, he says, hacking at a weed. Ground's too hard. We'll be eating dirt by spring. Better than eating nothing, I say, dropping to my knees. The soil's cold, sticks to my fingers. I pull thistles, my hand stinging, The manor house looms on the hill, its stone walls mocking us. Lord's probably still asleep, dreaming of roast pheasant, while we're out here freezing. The steward Godric shows up by noon, his cloak cleaner than anything we own. He's got a wax tablet, scratching notes like we're numbers, not people. Edric, he says, not looking up. Your family's short on the tithe. 2 more eggs by week's end, or it's a fine. Eggs aren't laying, I say, keeping my voice flat. Chickens are half-starved. Not my concern, he snaps. Lord needs his due. I bite my tongue. Wulfric shoots me a look. Don't push it. I don't. Last time someone argued, they lost a goat. Asterisk by afternoon, my back's screaming, and my hands are raw. Wulfric's gone quiet, which means he's scheming. Heard there's a merchant passing through tomorrow, he whispers. Got salt, maybe spices. We could trade, with what? I ask your charming smile. He grins, showing teeth that haven't seen a good day in years. Got a spare hoe, might get us something. I shake my head. Merchants are trouble. They talk of cities, of stone towers, and markets thick with coin. Makes you think life's better somewhere else. It's not. Out there, it's bandits, wolves, or worse, strangers who don't trust you. Here at least, I know which neighbor share a crust and which one else steal it. Asterisk back home, the stew's ready, if you can call it that. Thin, gray, smells like boiled earth. Ma's coughing worse, but she waves me off when I ask. Elith mending a tunic, her fingers quick despite the cold. Heard Godric was out, she says. What did he want? Eggs, I say, sinking onto the bench. Always eggs. She rolls her eyes. Might as well ask for gold. We eat in silence, the fire crackling. Outside, the wind's picking up, rattling the shutters. The chickens cluck in their corner, and I wonder if they know. They're next if we can't pay. Night's falling fast. The village goes quiet, save for the distant howl of a dog, or maybe a wolf. Hard to tell. I bank the fire, check the door's latch. Ma's already asleep, her breath uneven. Elith's humming a tune Da used to sing, soft enough not to wake anyone. I lie on the straw mattress, shared with Aelith and the fleas. The cold seeps through the walls, but the fire's warmth lingers. I think about the merchant, about cities I'll never see. I think about Ma's cough, about the steward's tablet, about the turnips running low. Tomorrow, be the same mud, work, hunger, but we'll get through it. We always do. If you're still listening, wherever you are, I hope your fire's warm. Me, I'm here, counting breaths in the dark, waiting for dawn. Asterisk the dark's thick. Now, like a blanket you can't shake off. I'm lying on the straw, listening to Elith's soft humming fade into snores. Ma's cough cuts through every few minutes, sharp and wet. I tell myself it's just the cold air, not something worse. The chickens rustle in their corner, and outside, the wind howls like it's got a grudge. If you're listening from somewhere warm, maybe with a cup of something that doesn't taste like boiled dirt, tell me about it. Makes this feel less like shouting into the void. For now, I close my eyes, hoping the dreams aren't the hungry kind. Sleep's a funny thing here. It's not one long stretch like you might imagine. I drift off for a bit first sleep. They call it then wake around midnight. Like my body knows there's work to be done even in the dark. The fire's down to coals, glowing faint orange. Elith's curled up next to me, her breath steady. Ma's quiet for once, thank God. I slide off the mattress, careful not to creak the frame, and step outside. The air's sharp, stings my face. The village is still, save for a distant dog barking. Or maybe it's a wolf again. Hard to say. I check the fence by moonlight. One of the posts is leaning. Wulfric's ox probably rubbed against it. I'll have to fix it tomorrow or we'll lose the chickens. Again. Back inside, I stir the coals, add a stick. The fire sputters, barely alive. Wood's too low to waste, but Ma needs the warmth. I sit for a bit, staring at the flames, thinking about that merchant Wulfric mentioned. Salt's worth more than gold some days. Spices might as well be magic. But trading means risk. Merchants don't trust us any more than we trust them. Second sleep comes slower, heavier. I dream of Da, standing by the river, his boots caked in ice. He doesn't speak, just points at the water. I wake with a jolt, heart pounding. Elith still out, one arm flung across my chest. I don't move her. The dream sticks with me, sour like bad ale. I don't tell anyone about it come morning. Dreams like that mean something, but I'm not sure I want to know what. Dawn's gray and sluggish, like the sky's too tired to bother. I'm up first, fetching water from the well. The bucket's heavy, and my arms ache from yesterday's. Weeding, the village is stirring Wulfric's, shouting at his ox again, and old Tom's goat is bleating like it knows something we don't. Elith's already at the hearth when I get back, poking at last night's stew. This is more water than food now, she says, wrinkling her nose. Better than nothing, I say, setting the bucket down. Ma's awake, sitting by the fire, wrapped in a blanket that's more holes than wool. Her cough's quieter today, but her eyes look distant. Merchant's coming, Alith says, not looking up. Wulfric told me. Says he's got cloth, too. Real wool, not this scratchy stuff. Wulfric says a lot of things, I mutter. Half of it's nonsense. Not this time, she says, smirking. I saw the cart tracks on the road. Fresh ones, I don't argue. Elith's got a nose for trouble, and merchants are trouble, but cloth, that's tempting. Ma's blanket won't last another winter. Asterisk. The merchant rolls in by mid-morning, his cart creaking under a tarp. He's a wiry man, beard streaked with gray, eyes sharp like he's counting our sins. The village gathers, not close, but close enough to watch. Kids dart around, staring at the cart like it's a dragon. Wulfric's at the front, holding that spare hoe like it's a scepter. Greetings, good folk, the merchant calls, voice smoother than anyone's round here. Salt, cloth, a bit of pepper if you've got the goods to trade. Pepper, old Tom scoffs, leaning on his stick. What's a man do with pepper when his roof's leaking? The merchant laughs, but it's not friendly. Spice your stew, old man. Makes the turnips taste less like despair. I hang back Alith beside me. She's eyeing a bolt of blue cloth, bright as a summer sky. We could trade the extra eggs, she whispers. Steward wants those, I remind her, and we're already short. She shrugs. Steward's not here now. Wulfric's haggling over the hoe, voice loud enough to scare the crows. The merchant's not budging, says a hoe's worth a handful of salt, nothing more. Wulfric's face goes redder than usual, but he hands it over. Salt's rare enough to make a bad deal feel like a win. I step forward, feeling the weight of every eye. What's the cloth cost? I ask, nodding at the blue bolt. The merchant sizes me up like I'm a cow at market. Got any wool? Grain? A pig? No pig, I say. Got a chicken. Lays well when she's fed. He snorts. Chickens are common as mud. Got anything better? Alith tugs my sleeve, but I shake my head. That's it, I say. Take it or leave it. He waves me off, already turning to old Tom, who's offering a jug of cider. I feel Elith's disappointment like a stone in my gut. That cloth would have been something to see Ma smile about. By noon the merchant's cart is lighter, and the village is buzzing. Wulfric's got his salt, old Tom's got a knife, and someone's kid is chewing on a dried apple like it's gold. I'm back in the Lord's field, pulling more thistles, my hands raw and bleeding. The steward Godric shows up again, his tablet tucked under his arm. Heard there's a merchant, he says, eyes narrow. You trade anything, Edric? No. I lie, keeping my hands busy. Nothing to trade. He grunts, scribbling something. Better not. Lord's expecting those eggs. I nod, biting back a curse. Wulfric's watching from across the field, his salt hidden under his cloak. He gives me a nod, like we're in on something. Maybe we are. Back home, Elith's quiet, stirring the stew. Ma's napping, her cough a low rumble. Should have traded the chicken, Alith says finally. That cloth was worth it. And eat what? I snap. Air. We need the eggs more than we need pretty things. She glares, but doesn't argue. She knows I'm right. The fire's low again, and I'm out of wood. I'll have to fix Tom's fence tonight. Trade for a bundle of sticks. Another deal, another debt. Outside, the merchant's cart rumbles away, leaving ruts in the mud. The village feels smaller without it, like the world's edges curled back in. I wonder what it's like out there, cities, stone walls, spices that don't cost a month's food. But wondering's dangerous. It makes you want things you can't have. The day's done, and I'm bone-tired. The stew's thin, but warm. We eat in silence, the fire crackling, the wind rattling, the shutters. Ma's cough is softer now, or maybe I'm just used to it. Elith's mending again, her fingers quick in the dim light. I chew the last of the bread, hard as stone but filling. Tomorrow's another day, more weeds, more steward, more debts. But we're here, still breathing, still fighting the cold and the hunger. If you're out there, wherever you are, I hope your fire's burning bright. Me, I'm counting the coals, waiting for the next dawn. Asterisk, the fire's down to a whisper now. Just enough to keep the chill from biting too hard. I'm sitting on the dirt floor, sharpening a stick with my knife to fix old Tom's fence. Elith's still mending, her needle flashing in the dim light. Ma's asleep, her breath uneven, each cough like a stone dropping in my gut. The chickens are quiet, tucked in their corner, probably dreaming of grain we don't have. If you're out there, wherever you are, I bet your night's softer than this. Maybe a candle burning, maybe a bed that doesn't itch. Drop a comment. Tell me what time it is where you are. Makes me feel like someone's listening. Asterisk, Alith sets the tunic aside, rubbing her eyes. You're going to Tom's now? She asks, voice low so Ma doesn't stir. Got to, I say, testing the stick's point. No wood, no fire, no fire. We're freezing by morning. She nods, but her mouth's tight. Be careful. Tom's been sour since that goat of his ate half his cabbages. Tom's always sour, I mutter, pulling on my cloak. It's stiff with dirt, smells like the sheep that gave it up. I step outside, the cold slapping my face like an angry priest. The village is dark, just shadows, and the faint glow of hearths. Through cracked shutters, the mud's half frozen, crunching under my boots. Somewhere, an owl hoots, and I hope it's not a bad omen. We've got enough of those. Old Tom's hut is at the edge of the village, near the woods where the trees lean like they're whispering secrets. His fence is a mess, posts, leaning wattle, unraveling like a bad weave. His goat's tied to a stake, chewing something it shouldn't. It glares at me, eyes glinting in the moonlight. Tom, I call, keeping my distance. Got that stick you wanted? The door creaks open, and Tom shuffles out, his face all wrinkles and suspicion. Took you long enough, Edric, he grumbles. Thought you'd forgotten. Hard to forget a man who never shuts up about his fence, I say, holding up the sharpened stick. He snorts, limping over to inspect it. It'll do, Woods. Buy the shed, take what you need, but don't get greedy. I nod, heading to the pile. The wood's damp, half rotten, but it'll burn. I grab an armful, enough for a couple nights if we're careful. Tom watches me like I'm about to steal. His goat heard about the merchant, he says. You trade anything? No, I say, stacking the wood. Steward's got his eye on us. Tom spits into the mud. Godric's a leech, sucks us dry, and calls it duty. I don't answer. Talking like that's dangerous, even in the dark. But Tom's old, past caring. He's got no kids, no wife, just that goat and a hut. That's one storm away from collapsing. I finish loading the wood and turn to go. Fence'll be fixed by dawn, I promise. Better be, he says, already. Shuffling back inside. Back home, I drop the wood by the hearth. Elith's gone to bed, her mending piled on the table. Ma's still out, but her cough's picking up again, each one sharper than the last. I add a stick to the fire, coaxing it back to life. The flames flicker, throwing shadows on the walls. I sit for a bit, listening to the wind howl. It's the kind of night where you feel the world pressing in, like the forests creeping closer, waiting to swallow us whole. I think about the merchant again, that blue cloth Aleth wanted. It's foolish, but I can't shake the image of Ma wrapped in something warm, something that doesn't smell like despair. Maybe I should have traded the chicken, but then what? No eggs, no way to pay the steward. Godric doesn't care about our hunger. He's got his ledger and his lord, and we're just lines in it. A knock at the door startles me. It's late, nobody visits this hour, unless it's trouble. I grab the knife, small as it is, and crack the door open. It's Wulfric, his face half hidden under his hood. "Let me in," he whispers. "Quick." I step aside, and he slips in, bringing the cold with him. "What's this about?" I ask, keeping my voice low. He pulls a small sack from his cloak, the one he hid the salt in. "Got something from the merchant," he says, grinning like a kid who stole a pie. "Not just salt. Look." He opens the sack, and there's a pinch of something dark, pepper maybe. Smells sharp, like nothing I've ever known. "You're mad," I say. "If Godric finds out, he won't." Wulfric cuts in. "Traded. The hoe and a bit of wool I borrowed, nobody. Miss it." I shake my head. "You're gonna get us all whipped. Or we'll eat something that doesn't taste like mud for once," he says, eyes glinting. "Split it with you. Just don't tell Aleth," she blabbed. I hesitate. Pepper's not food, not really, but it's something. A taste of the world beyond the trees. "Fine," I say finally. "But you owe me if this goes wrong." He claps my shoulder, already halfway out the door. "You worry too much, Edric. Live a little." I hide the pepper in the rafters, behind a bundle of dried onions. It's a small thing, but it feels like a secret worth keeping. The fire's steady now, and I lie back on the straw, Elith's warmth beside me. Ma's cough is quieter, or maybe I'm just willing it to be. The village is silent, save for the wind and the occasional creak of a shutter. I think about Wulfric's pepper, about the merchant's cart rolling off to places I'll never see. I wonder if Da ever dreamed of leaving, of finding a world where the steward didn't knock, where the fire didn't die. Sleep pulls me under again, slow and heavy. I dream of a table piled with bread, golden and soft, not the hard rye we choke. Down, there's cloth on the table, blue like the merchant's bolt, and Ma's, laughing, no cough, no shadows under her eyes. It's a good dream, the kind you don't want to wake from. Morning'll come soon, gray and cold as ever. There'll be more weeds, more debts, more of Godric's tablets scratching our lives into numbers. But for now, I'm here, the fire's burning, and we've got a pinch of pepper hidden where no one'll find it. It's not much, but it's something. If you're still listening, wherever you are, I hope your night's warm. Me, I'm counting the coals, waiting for the light. Asterisk dawn breaks like a cracked egg, gray and reluctant, spilling just enough light to remind you the world's still here. I'm up before the rooster, my joints stiff from the straw mattress. Elith still curled up, snoring softly, her breath puffing in the cold air. Ma's awake, sitting by the hearth, stirring the fire with a stick. Her cough's back, rougher than last night. each hack like a hammer on my nerves. The chickens cluck in their corner, probably wondering why they're still alive. If you're listening from somewhere with a soft bed and a full belly, tell me what it's like. Drop a comment with your time and place. Makes me feel like we're sharing this fire, even if it's just for a moment. I grab the bucket and head to the well, my boots sinking into the half-frozen mud. The village is quiet, save for Wulfric's ox lowing in the distance. The air smells of frost and smoke, sharp, enough to sting my nose. The well's rope is frayed, and the bucket feels heavier than yesterday. My hands are raw from the thistles, little cuts stinging as I haul water. I glance at the sky. Clouds are thick, promising rain or worse. Bad for the fields, worse for Ma's cough. Back at the hut, Elith's up, tearing yesterday's nettles into the pot. Stew again, she grumbles, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Unless you've got a pig hidden somewhere, I say, setting the bucket down. She smirks. Maybe I'll steal Tom's goat. Don't even joke, I say, glancing at Ma. She's staring at the fire, not listening. Her face is paler than yesterday, and I don't like it. You feeling all right, Ma? She waves me off, just cold. Keep that fire going, Edric. I nod, but my gut twists. We're low on wood again, even with Tom's bundle. I'll have to work fast on that fence outside. The village is stirring. Wulfric's at his gate, sharpening a hoe with a stone, his face red from the cold or last night's ale. Edric, he calls, waving me over. Heard Godric's coming. Early, checking the tithe. My stomach drops. Already, he was just here. Wulfric spits into the mud. Merchant's got him twitchy. Thinks we're hiding goods. I think of the pepper in the rafters, small as it is. We didn't trade nothing, I say, keeping my voice steady. He squints at me like he knows I'm lying. Better hope not. Godric's got a nose for trouble. I shrugged, heading for Tom's. The fence is worse than I thought, half the wattle's loose, and the posts are splintering. I drive the sharpened stick into the ground, weaving branches to patch the gaps. Tom's goat watches me, chewing something green. Don't even think about it, I mutter, giving it a glare. It bleats back, unimpressed. 00:35:15. Tom shuffles out, leaning on his stick. You're slow, he says, eyeing my work. You're welcome, I snap, tying off a branch. This'll hold your beast, unless it learns to fly. He grunts, tossing me another stick of wood as payment. Heard Godric sniffing around. You keep that chicken tight, boy. Planning to, I say, but my mind's on the pepper. If Godric finds it, we're done for. A fine we can't pay, or worse, the Lord's men taking our chickens. I finish the fence quick, my hands aching, and head back home. The village feels tense, like everyone's holding their breath. Kids aren't running around today, even quiet, which is never a good sign. At the hut, Elith's outside, scrubbing the pot with a rag. Godric's on the road, she says, not looking up. Saw his horse from the hill. Great, I mutter, dropping the wood by the hearth. Ma's still by the fire, her cough worse now, rattling deep in her chest. I kneel beside her. Ma, you need to lie down. I'm fine, she says, but her voice is weak. Just keep that stew warm. I exchange a look with Elith. She shakes her head, like she's saying don't push it. I want to argue, but there's no time. Hooves clop outside, and my heart sinks. Godric the steward doesn't knock. He just pushes the door open, his cloak sweeping in like he owns the place. His tablets under his arm, and his eyes dart around, taking in the hut's meager contents. Edric, he says, voice cold as the frost tides do. 2 eggs, as I said. Chickens aren't laying, I say, standing between him and Ma. We're trying. He steps closer, his boots leaving mud on our floor. Tryings. Not enough. Lord's expecting his due. And I hear there was a merchant. Alith stiffens. but I keep my face blank. Didn't trade nothing, I say. Got nothing to trade. He sniffs, like he can smell the lie. I'll check the rafters, he says, moving toward the ladder. My heart's pounding, but I step in his way. Nothing up there but onions, I say, voice steady as I can manage. You want to climb and get dirty, be my guest. He glares, but he doesn't move. Climbing's beneath him. You're on thin ice, Idrik, he says, scribbling on his tablet. 3 eggs by tomorrow, or it's the Lord's court. He leaves without another word, the door slamming behind him. Aleth lets out a breath. That was close, she whispers. Too close, I say, glancing at the rafters. The pepper's still there, a tiny rebellion we can't afford. The rest of the morning passes in a blur. I'm back in the Lord's field, pulling weeds again, my hands bleeding through the cuts. Wulfric's nearby, muttering about Godric. He's got no right, he says, low enough the other workers don't hear. Taking what we don't have. Tell that to his whip, I say, yanking a thistle. Or the Lord's men. Eyes narrow. You ever think about not giving in, just once? I stop, the thistle dangling in my hand. You mean like burning his tablet, or running off? He shrugs, but there's a spark in his eyes. Something like that. Don't be stupid, I say, but the thought lingers. I shake it off. Rebellion's for fools who don't mind dying. I've got Ma and Aleth to think about. Back home, the stew's ready, thin as ever. Ma's lying down now, her cough a steady. Rhythm Elith's quiet, her hands busy with a torn cloak. I sprinkle a pinch of the pepper into the pot when she's not looking. It's reckless, but I want something to feel different, even if it's just a taste. We eat in silence, the fire crackling, the peppers sharp, strange, like a secret on my tongue. Aleth notices, her eyes widening. What's that? She asks. Nothing, I say, too quick. She smirks. Liar. That's from Wulfric, isn't it? I don't answer, but she doesn't push. Ma eats slowly, her hands shaking. Tastes better, she says, and for a moment her eyes aren't so distant. It's not much, but it's enough. The day's done, and we're still here, still breathing. If you're out there, I hope your fire's warm, your bowl's full. Me, I'm watching the coals, waiting for tomorrow. This edition brings the total to 5,600 words, roughly 40 minutes. It deepens the tension with Godric's visit, hints at rebellion through Wulfric's words, and adds a small moment of defiance with the pepper. If you'd like to continue, shift the style, explore specific themes, for example, famine, religion, or sickness, or aim for the full 92-minute length, please provide details. For example, I could focus on Ma's worsening cough, a village conflict, or a risky plan involving Wulfric. Let me know your preferences. Asterisk, the fire's low again, barely holding off the chill creeping through the walls. I'm sitting by the hearth, whittling a stick to keep my hands busy. Elith's cleaning the pot, her movements slow, like she's carrying more than just the weight of the day. Ma's asleep, her cough quieter but deeper, each one pulling at my chest. The pepper's taste lingers on my tongue, sharp and forbidden, a secret I'm already regretting. If you're out there, maybe in a warm room with a full stomach, tell me what it's like. Drop a comment with your time and place. It's strange, but knowing someone's listening makes this hut feel less like the edge of the world. Aleth sets the pot down, wiping her hands on her apron. Maswers, she says, voice barely above a whisper. You heard her breathing. It's not just the cold. I stop whittling, the knife still in my hand. She's been bad before, I say, but it sounds hollow, even to me. She'll pull through. Elith's eyes narrow. You keep saying that, Idrik, but what if she doesn't? We've got no herbs, no wise woman, and Godric wants 3 eggs by tomorrow. What then? I don't answer. What can I say? The truth is, we're one bad day from losing everything, Ma. The chickens, the hut. I look at the rafters, where the pepper's hidden, a stupid risk for a moment's taste. I should have listened to my gut, not Wulfric's grin. Get some sleep, I tell her. I'll sit with Ma. She hesitates, then nods, crawling onto the straw mattress. The chickens cluck softly, and outside, the wind's howling like it's got something to prove. I'm up before noon, hauling water again. The well's rope is fraying worse, and my hands sting with every pull. The village feels heavy today, like the air's thick with more than just clouds. Wulfric's at his gate, talking to old Tom. Their voice is low. I catch the word Godric and quicken my step. No good comes from that name. Back home, Elith's stirring the pot, more nettles, more water, no miracles. Ma's awake, sitting up, but her eyes are glassy, her breath rattling, like a broken cart. Edric, she says, voice thin. You've been good to me, to Elith. Don't talk like that, I say, kneeling beside her. You're not going anywhere. She smiles, faint and sad. Not my choice, lad. I swallow hard, my throat tight. I want to promise her herbs, a healer, anything but promises are as empty as our larder. I help her lie down, tucking the ragged blanket around her. Alith watches, silent, her hands clenched like she's holding back a scream. Wulfric shows up at the door, his face grim. Godric's back, he says, not stepping inside. He's at the chapel, counting tithes, wants everyone there. Now, I ask, glancing at Ma. I can't leave her. You don't show, he'll come here. Wulfric says, and he's in a mood. Bring the eggs. We don't have 3. Alith snaps, stepping forward. He knows that. Wulfric shrugs. Then bring what you've got, or he'll take more than eggs. I grab the one egg we have, tucked in a basket under straw. It's small, cracked, but it's something. Alith stays with Ma, her eyes hard. Don't do anything stupid, she says. Me, I say, forcing a grin. Never. She doesn't smile back. The chapel's a mile off, a squat stone building. That looks more like a fort than a house of God. The village is gathered outside, a ragged crowd of maybe 20. Old Tom's there, clutching his stick. Wulfric's beside him, his salt sack nowhere in sight. The priest, Father Ulrich, stands by the door, his robes cleaner than any of us. Godric's in the center, his horse tied to a post, his tablet gleaming, like a weapon. Edric, he calls as I approach, his voice sharp. Your tithe. I hold out the egg, my hand steady despite the knot in my gut. It's what we've got, I say. Chickens aren't laying. He takes it, turning it over like it's a jewel. 1, he says, raising an eyebrow. I said 3. Chickens don't listen to you, I say. And a few villagers chuckle before catching themselves. Godric's eyes narrow. Careful. Boy, I've heard whispers. Goods from that merchant. Hidden, maybe. My heart skips, but I keep my face blank. Nothing hidden, I lie. Check the hut if you want. He steps closer, his breath sour. I will, and if I find anything cloth, anything you'll wish you'd handed it over. The crowd's quiet, eyes on the ground. Even Wulfric's looking away, the coward. I nod, not trusting my voice. Godric moves on, barking at old Tom for his cider jug. I slip back, my hands shaking. The pepper's small, but it's enough to ruin us back home. Elith's by Ma's side, dabbing her forehead with a damp rag. What did he say? She asks, not looking up. Wants 3 eggs, I say, sinking onto the bench. And he's checking huts. Thinks we're hiding something. Her eyes flick to the rafters, then back to Ma. Get rid of it, she says. The pepper. Now I hesitate. It's just a pinch, but it's ours. A taste of something better. Maybe we can hide it better, I say, Edric. Don't be a fool, she snaps. Ma's sick. We can't lose the chickens, too. She's right, but it stings. I climb the ladder, grab the tiny sack, and slip it into my cloak. I'll bury it in the woods, where Godric won't look. Or maybe I'll give it to Wulfric. Let him take the blame. The afternoon's a blur of work mending the fence again, hauling more water, checking the fields. Ma's worse by evening, her breath shallow, her skin hot. Elith's brewing nettle tea, but it's not enough. I think of the wise woman in the next village, 5 miles off. Too far, too dangerous, and we've got nothing to pay her with. Wulfric stops by, his face pale. Godric's searching Tom's hut, he says. Found a knife from the merchant. Tom's in trouble. My stomach twists. What kind of trouble? Find Wulfric says. Lost his goat. You better hope he doesn't come here next. I nod, the pepper heavy in my cloak. Get out, I say, and don't come back tonight. He leaves without a word, and I feel the weight of his scheme settling on me. The fire's low, Ma's fading, and Godric's circling like a wolf. I bury the pepper under a tree, my hands shaking in the dark. It's nothing, just a pinch, but it feels like everything. Back inside, Elith's humming to Ma, a soft tune Da used to sing. The fire's dying, and the hut's cold. I add the last of Tom's wood, praying it lasts the night. Ma's eyes are closed, her chest barely moving. I sit beside her, holding her hand, rough and thin. Hold on, Ma, I whisper. Just hold on. If you're still listening, I hope your fire's warm, your family close. Me, I'm watching Ma's breath, counting each one, waiting for dawn to bring something better. This addition brings the total to approximately 7,000 words, roughly 50 minutes. It escalates the tension with Godric's suspicions, deepens Ma's illness, and shows Edric's struggle between defiance and survival. If you'd like to continue, shift the style, for example, more poetic or humorous. Focus on specific themes, for example, rebellion, famine, or the church. Or aim for the full 92-minute length. Please provide details. For example, I could explore a confrontation with Godric, a visit from the priest, or a desperate trip to the wise woman. Let me know your preferences. Asterisk, the night's settled in like a heavy cloak, cold and unyielding. The fire's barely alive. Just a flicker of coals casting shadows on the walls. I'm sitting by Ma, her hand limp in mine, her breath so shallow I have to lean close to hear it. Each cough feels like a warning, sharp and wet, like the rattle of a broken wheel. Elith's on the straw mattress, not sleeping, just staring at the ceiling. The chickens are quiet, tucked in their corner, and the wind's howling outside, shaking the shutters. If you're listening from somewhere warm, maybe with a roof that doesn't leak, tell me what it's like. Drop a comment with your time and place makes this hut feel less like the end of everything. Alith sits up, her face pale in the firelight. We can't just sit here, Edric, she whispers, voice tight. Ma's not gonna make it without help. I know, I say, my throat dry. But the wise woman's 5 miles off. It's dark, and we've got nothing to pay her with. We've got the chickens, she says, glancing at the basket. One of them. It's enough. And Godric, I snap, keeping my voice low. He's already after us for eggs. You want him taking the hut too? She glares, her eyes fierce. I'd rather lose the hut than Ma. I grab my cloak and a stick, not much of a weapon, but better than nothing. The night's black as pitch, the village swallowed by shadows. The mud's frozen solid, crunching under my boots. I pass Wulfric's hut, dark and silent, and old Tom's, where his goat's bleating like it knows something's wrong. The path to the next village is a faint track through the woods, barely visible in the moonlight. I've walked it once, years ago with Doc, before the ice took him. I try not to think about that. The forest is alive with sounds, rustling leaves, a distant howl that might be a wolf or just the wind. My breath clouds in front of me, and my hands ache from the cold. I clutch the stick tighter, praying I don't need it. The wise woman's name is Jitha, or so they say. Lives in a hut by the river, knows herbs that can pull a soul back from the edge. Or so the stories go. I hope they're true. Halfway there, I hear hooves. My heart stops. I duck behind a tree, gripping the stick like it's a sword. A horse snorts, and a lantern bobs in the dark. It's Father Ulrich, the priest, his robes flapping as he rides. He's the last person I want to see, but there's no hiding now. Edric, he calls, his voice sharp. What are you doing out here? I step onto the path, keeping my head low. Ma is sick, I say, going to Jitha. He frowns, his face pale in the lantern's glow. The wise woman, you'd do better to pray, boy. Herbs are no match for God's will. God's will hasn't helped her cough, I say, sharper than I mean to. His eyes narrow, and I curse myself. You don't talk back to a priest. Mind your tongue, he says. And Godric's looking for you. Says you're hiding goods. I'd confess now, if you've got anything to say. Nothing to confess, I lie, my heart pounding. Just trying to save Ma. He studies me like he's weighing my soul. Bring her to the chapel tomorrow. I'll pray over her, and bring your tithe. The Lord's mercy isn't free. I nod, biting back a retort. He rides off, the lantern fading. Into the dark, I'm shaking, not just from the cold. Godric and Ulrich both sniffing around Ditz, like the village is a trap closing in. Jitha's hut is a low, smoky thing by the river, its walls caked with moss. I knock, my knuckles stinging. The door creaks open, and she's there old as the hills, eyes sharp as a hawk's. What do you want, boy? She asks, her voice like dry leaves. My ma's sick, I say, holding out the chicken I grabbed before leaving. Cough's bad, can you help? She takes the chicken, her fingers bony but strong. Fever, rattling breath. I nod, she grunts, disappearing inside. I wait, the river gurgling nearby, the cold seeping into my boots. She comes back with a small pouch of herb sage, maybe, and something that smells like rot. Boil this, she says, twice a day, and pray, not to Ulrich's God, mind you, to the old ones, who listen. I don't ask what she means. I take the pouch, my hands trembling. Will it work? She shrugs. If she's strong enough, now go. Road's not safe. The walk back is worse, darker, colder, the pouch heavy. In my cloak, I keep thinking of Ulrich's words, Godric's threats. The village feels. The fire's steady now, but the hut feels fragile, like one gust could bring it down. Outside, the village is waking. Wulfric's ox lowing, old Tom's goat bleating. Godric will be back today, maybe Ulrich too. I think of the buried pepper, the chicken I gave away, the eggs we don't have. It's all piling up, debts we can't pay, hopes we can't afford. But Ma's breathing, and that's enough for now. I sit by the fire, watching the steam rise from the pot, listening to Alith Humdia's old tune. If you're out there, I hope your dawn's kinder than ours. Me, I'm counting Ma's breaths, waiting for the light to tell us we've made it through another night.